So have you ever tried to follow maybe where the Spirit is leading? Have you ever tried it for any length of time? What's that like? Do you feel like you knew where you were going? Did you need to know where you're going? We're going to think about that today on Now at Devotions from Trinity Lutheran out in the countryside, not too far from Cyrus. So we are in the book of John here, chapter 10, and it's an interesting thing. Just after chapter 9, which is this long, great story in John about a man that Jesus healed who had been born blind. So that's a whole different category. And then how folks interview him, the Pharisees and the church interviews him to see, hey, did this Jesus guy do it? And he just lays into him. It's great. Anyway, after that story, folks are asking Jesus, so are you the Messiah or not? Which, by the way, if they're asking the question after he just did this, it doesn't matter what he says. Because if he says yes, they're like, no, you're not. And if he says, well, what do you think? They say, well, you healed a man born blind, but we're not sure. Like, he can't win. But he says, I'm a shepherd. And then he talks about why folks lead people and what you can expect from folks leading people, and then how he leads people. And there's some big differences there. So Jesus is talking to these Pharisees and he says, I think y'all are misunderstanding what leadership is. And that's an interesting, that's a really fascinating approach to take. He says, when folks come into a sheepfold, if they climb over the gates, if they climb over the fences, they're clearly not there for the reasons that you would want them to be there. And you should not follow them. They will steal you. They will steal your hearts for their own purposes. That's interesting, right? And he says, I'm the good shepherd. Folks hear my voice, they want to follow. Folks hear my voice, they recognize it. They go, that's a good thing. I'm on it. I am there. And I think about that. Sometimes in the church, we do this thing where we talk about belief instead of trust. We talk about rules instead of freedom. Jesus says, I am here to free you. The truth sets you free. And then he talks about what it means to follow. And a great example of this is looking down here. You can see there's a little trail here. And we always talk about this as faithful people, like, how do we stay on track? How do we stay on the rail, on the road, on the highway, on the path, whatever analogy you want to use. And we talk about that. And I would suggest to you that when Jesus says, I'm the good shepherd, he's not saying I will keep you on the trail, right? He says, this is a big, beautiful world. And you can go any direction you want, and I'm going to be with you in that, right? That's freedom. Jesus sets us free. And when we follow him, we're following the voice of one that we know, that we love, that we trust, right? This is not about working up this certain level of emotional strength or belief power that lets you make huge sacrifices for Jesus. No. Jesus is someone I love and trust. I cannot but help follow him. I have to. It's why I do this work. It's why you help each other. It's why you love the people who are hard to love. It's why you go and show up for people when they're sick. It's why you visit them when they need a visit. It's why you bring lasagnas, right? It's all the things you do because you know the shepherd's voice. So I want to encourage you. First off, maybe you already know that voice and you've been already following. But also, if you find yourself doing that thing where you think about a trail and you think, I've got to stay on path, I would suggest to you that you live in an open, free world in which the shepherd calls you to actions of trust, not to following rigid lines that you have to stay and navigate perfectly. No. It's a wide open world full of freedom. And the shepherd says, I love you, I got you, I'm with you, now let's go and let's take care of some sheep. I'm Pastor Chris from Trinity Lutheran in Cyrus, signing off for now.